Hello and welcome to Wheel Thing TV. I'm Dave Knoll. In this week's edition we're checking out the new diesel-engined Subaru Forrester. It's a new diesel-engined Subaru Forrester 2-litre diesel with 108 kilowatts at around 3600 RPM, 350 Newton meters around from 18 through to about 2500 RPM. A lot of torque. It's a 7-speed ratio for the CVT, the constant variable transmission gearbox, and once again I'm not a fan of it. The car itself has undergone simple stylistic changes, little hint of change in the headlights, around in the front bumper and on the taillights as well. Just a series of evolutionary changes to the car. Interesting little design feature here for Subaru is that in the actual door hinge they've got these little nubs that actually stop the door at 3 preset positions, so it doesn't sort of just swing around like any other car does. Interior's copped a nice freshen, a nice update, and as you can see it also has the Starlink system that Subaru have across their Impreza base range. Of course their all-wheel drive system, their cross mode. This is the L, the entry-level car, and it actually feels like it's a second-level car. It's quite nicely fitted, very comfortable seats, cloth in this case manual adjustment for the seats. What it doesn't have, and apparently is across the board when it comes to the diesels, it doesn't have the eyesight system for checking out the cars in front and braking in emergency situations. Another design issue personally for me is the decision by Subaru to have this kind of lip. It's actually a roll-off rather than going down and then stopping things if you're going shopping from rolling around. And that just seems to me that if you're going to be having this kind of design, look, you've got plenty of room underneath, why not just sort of drop it down? So if you've got things that tend to roll like tins, then they're not going to be just waiting here at the door and falling out as soon as you open the tailgate. It's the well-known Yokohama Geolandar tyres for the Forrester, in this case 225 by 60 on 17-inch alloy rims. Nothing spectacular, but at the same time quite nice enough to look at as well. And of course you've got this polyurethane trim along the side of the car and at the front. Fairly basic in looks, and it's a very functional looking car all the way through as well. And the other thing about this is just how surprising the height of the car is compared to other SUVs, and of course you get this sort of feeling of sitting up just that little bit higher as a result, especially on the higher mounted driver's seat. There's nothing exceptionally spectacular about the CVT and diesel combination. It is not one that I'm in favour of. The CVT just seems to sap the power, the drive that a diesel compared, or connected I should say, to a normal hydraulic automatic transmission seems to have. So for example, if you hop into let's say a Volvo with a 2-litre engine pumping out the same amount of torque, give it a bootful and the car will just run away. In this car it's a leisurely progression. It will sort of slowly accelerate under normal acceleration. Give it a bootful, it will change a gear or two, but it still just lacks the punch that we've become so accustomed to in a diesel and automatic transmission car. It's certainly a nice enough car, the diesel Forrester. It's fairly quiet, it's reasonably refined in the actual way that it drives and handles. I think the tyre pressures on this car might have just been a little bit lower than what we would have expected. It just seemed a little bit soft, a little bit spongy. Turns in nicely, a little bit of a tyre squeal on some very tight roundabouts, but at the end of the day it is what it is. It's an off-road car which just seems to spend most of its time on the tarmac. The range starts at around low $20,000. Of course, contact Subaru for pricing in your area. For a Wheel Thing TV, I'm Dave Knoll.